What's going on, everyone? Forex Fargo checking in. This is going to be, daily webinar for January 20th, 2021. Today's actually going to be, before we even get into the charts, just looking at this right here, it's Wednesday, so you're going to have a lot of news happening. I'm not really into the fundamentals and shit, but one thing I will say is the fact that we are having the presidential inauguration tomorrow. Expect price to kind of just be extremely volatile. That being said, part of the reason why, I was looking at entering a couple of these trades this week, i.e. Gold, is specifically for the fact that, I'm just expecting a nice big push on gold. I got a decent position open or whatever like that. Took most of them off. I've been, scalping in between and shit like that. My 20, 30 pips, just trying to compound or whatever like that, setting the buy stops and set it and forget it. But my original position I have on gold is probably approaching like 240, 250 pips. I'll do a chart. By the time I get time to, whether or not I have the time to take a screenshot of the chart at 250 pips or not, I'll be able to show you guys, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, what we can kind of be looking for just on a daily time frame, right? This is what we're looking at on AU, right? So if we just look at this candle right here, we can see that the daily candle that we have opening right now, which is Wednesday, looks like it will be mirroring the candle that happened, I think sometime last week. I think that's like Friday's candle close or something like that, right? So, it kind of opened route where we had like Friday's low. You can see right here that on this daily, not the daily candle, yeah, on the daily candle, we still have about 50 pips to the upside. Now, not telling you, where to enter the position, right? It's not necessarily a signal, but you can see prices just kind of breaking out of this zone right here. I don't know if we're going to have a fucking pullback, or just continue all the way up, but regardless of the situation, just a small little intraday trade, something that you could potentially take. If price happens to retest down there, if it doesn't, you fucking missed the trade. But you could set a buy stop somewhere along one of these levels, so maybe 20, 30 pips if you're looking for that. But yeah, so I'm looking for this on the gold trade. I think this is one of my other charts right here. This is a yeah. So I had another entry on gold sometime, I think a couple weeks ago or whatever like that. I tried to take this long position. I ended up taking it from here to this was last week, yeah. So I tried to take a long position from 1840 to 1865 or something like that. Didn't necessarily quite reach 1865, so I had to, cut my partials and then, adjust my stop loss or whatever. Got stopped out. Now following along, it's a new week, new opportunities. Just understanding, that we are going to have some good, the third and the fourth weeks is going to be great. Not only because of the fact that you have these big fundamentals, in my opinion, if you just look at the markets overall, when you do trade, Wednesdays and Thursdays have the most volatility. I actually like stopping my trading by Wednesday. So, I'm going to try to stick the best of my plans as possible. So, regardless of how the end of Wednesday market closes, NYE, something like that, not NYE, New York Stock Exchange, fucking 5 p.m. or whatever like that tomorrow. Whatever my pip count is, whatever my pip count is. I know I've taken 2 fucking losses so far, and I know that whatever trades I'm in, I've taken my parts along the way. So I'm straight, but I got to make sure that I stick to that, right? So on this gold trade, if gold breaks out, right, you could probably, this looks stupid or whatever, but, I'd actually wait for gold to kind of, retest somewhere like around right here, right? So I'll draw like a little mini level. It might be too late, but it looks like there's some liquidity around this 1850 level. I know that we're 40 pips above it or whatever like that, but maybe that could happen. It could happen, sometime before London session. You don't need that fucking big of a stop loss. I'd actually keep it tight. I'd actually prefer to take 2 losses on gold. So what I mean by that, if I take 2 losses on gold and then 15 pips each, that means I lost 30 pips, right? But gold's so volatile, I enter a fucking position on gold. Gold flies fucking 60 pips. I just covered my 2 losses and then I just made some profit, right? I'd rather play it like that nowadays as opposed to entering gold with a bigger stop loss of 30, 40 not, I don't have 40 pips. I lost it, but 30 pips, and then lose my position one time, enter it again, lose it twice. Now I'm down 60 pips. Now I need my position to go positive 120 pips before I, make some profit. So this is all stuff that psychologically I have adapted and, I've built in the back of my mind, and it's helped me with my trading. I'm not always, the best with it, but I'm gonna start, writing shit down and making sure I actually have it in front of me. So it helps with that. So that's what I can kind of look at on gold. On GJ, right? I went over this yesterday. If you took the trade, you took the trade. If you, what I mean, you got stopped out, you fucking lost only like less than 10 pips, right? But if you were to enter the trade right along here, I spoke about this was kind of being like the support level, from the time of entry. From the time of entry, it's not that much. You're around like, 24, 20, 50 pips. I mean, 20, 25 pips or whatever like that. But you still have time to, maybe enter, just kind of monitor. Let's see how the 1 hour candle closes. Let's see, if we get some, you can see that we're getting some like probably retracement levels. I wouldn't be surprised if, 2 a.m. fucking comes and, fucking skyrockets, or, just looking to collect some liquidity. You never know. What I will say is, if you guys watched my webinar last week, not last week, if you guys watched my webinar, I believe it was yesterday, and you saw the fact that I took the 2 losses on GN and GA, what makes you a good trader is not the fact that you glorify your wins, right? I glorify my losses because, I learn from them as well as you guys learn from them. So I watched the webinar I put up, but I discussed the fact that I had early entries. I discussed why I took my trades, right? So I got no reason taking a loss because I shared with you guys my reasoning behind taking the trades. Now I understood pressing the replay button, why I lost and what I can learn from next time, right? So if I am having that second, one, I didn't wait for the hour candle closure, and then 2, I did have that second, that intuition and that gut feeling where I shouldn't necessarily be executing a trade, and I should just wait to see what happens and just leave the sell stop. But I wanted to try to get a good entry and maybe look for like a quote unquote sniper, but I was just, I don't know, just trying to make sure I didn't miss the trade, right? So that comes part of being, the greed that people need to get out of their blood and shit like that, right? Another thing, this actually is gonna be a fucking beautiful trade, right? So here, I'll move this one down here. So this EU trade, if you're able to catch this EU trade, right, this should align with the dollar index. So I don't have the Dixie on this one. Let me go back to my 2021 vibes. So right. So this dollar index, if I'm going ahead and I'm showing you guys can watch this all the way back from Sunday. I expressed the fact that I was, looking for price to push all the way up here, reach some exhaustion, push all the way back down, with the fact that we were looking at the dollar index falling, it is expected for any pair against the US dollar to be rising, and, the value for that to go up, right? So this is why we are in the pairs. Understanding and putting all the pieces together, will help you overall become a better Forex trader and just understanding the market. I don't care what, you end up trading, if it's commodity, stock, options, if you just venture off, just to make sure that you understand what's going on. As you guys can see right now, right before fucking, 2 a.m., looking like prices, retracing and stuff like that. But regardless, a couple other pairs that I wanted to take a look at. So I went over gold, EU, AU. Let's go over this GU thing, right? That's another thing. This USD CAD, I didn't send this trade, right? But this is something that, I myself, I didn't enter. I was following along with the trade. I thought the price was going to break out from here on Sunday. Followed along with it. Price pushed all the way back up here. No need for me to interrupt it. I was waiting for price to get down here. This is how you get better as a fucking trader, right? You got to practice your patience. So, I also hold myself accountable, which is why I share this with you guys. GJ, same thing that we have on GJ. Perfect. Same thing we have on GJ. What we're looking at, GU, right? So this GU trade is actually a fucking beautiful trade. If you caught GU from down here, you're actually up a fucking bag. You're up like 100 and something pips. I expressed, in the webinar before, the fact that price had actually came down to respect Friday's low, I believe, or some weeks low. where price had broke out from last week, and that was actually a trade that I had sent. If you guys follow me, I spoke about the fact that price was going to break out from, and I remember these because I remember what I said, right? So I spoke about AU buys last week from 77 to 78 cents. Price exhausted on AU at 77,800, right? I spoke about EU buys from fucking blah, 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 to blah, blah, blah. I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head exactly. More specifically, I spoke about GU buys from 135, like 250 to the T to 137. And I spoke about GJ buys from 141 to 142, like 225, right? And I spoke about like a couple other things and shit. That was last week, right? So this week, what happens? You wait for price to set up. You see that the price hits the fucking weekly high. It overexhausts. Price is retracing down to a weekly low level where it finds support. You enter a trade right there. Trading doesn't need to be that fucking hard, right? So this is why I mean, you take the time. You not saying that I trade any better than people. There's times I take my losses, times I take my wins and shit. You guys see my wins are fucking significant wins nowadays compared to the losses, right? So, and I document all of this with you all so you guys can learn with me, like I said, and grow together as a family. So, that was actually on GU and EU. You're up like on almost a fucking 80 pips or whatever on EU, and then plus 100 on GU, right? So spoke about EU, you can enter that trade from this 120 this level right here. It's probably literally price is gonna either push if price breaks past this 122, 175, right? So this is gonna be the first level of resistance that I'm worried about right here, right? And then what you're looking for, price is probably gonna fly from there like that, right? Especially when Biden starts speaking. So I'll leave that on the actual chart because I think that some crazy shit is going to fucking happen later today, and they will find some exhaustion at 123 because I'm not gonna do this, but do this on your own time. These are some weekly levels, right? So yeah, like I said, do it on your own time. This is a weekly level at 123 and some change. Just take my word for it. Look at the charts more than y'all. So yeah. So anyways, Forex Fargo. Before I check out, if you guys have any questions or want me to look at something with you all, by all means, if you want to type it in the chat, do that real quick. Because there's going to be a lot of great opportunities today. Oh, thank you. I remember. Sorry, I'm not checking out yet. My bad. Don't do drugs, but do drugs if it fucking works for you, right? So, yesterday, I wanted to take this trade. Didn't fucking end up happening, right? Follow along with it. I actually entered this trade right here, so I'm up 10, 15 pips or whatever like that. But I entered this trade when I found out that, I think one of these candlesticks right here, price fucking wicked back up there, but then, I wasn't worried about that. So I'm looking to see if I can enter this GN sell that I was looking to originally enter. I've entered this GN sell. I'm looking to see where I could take my profits, like my 50 to 75 pips at least on this trade. Maybe I'll find some exhaustion at 195.75 or something like that. If not, I'll probably see if I can get my 50 pips. It is what it is. I am also in a EU trade. Took a sell somewhere like around right here, and then I'm also in a GA trade from a GA sell from around right here, right? So, do you do scalping? I try not to, no, bro. If you look at all of my positions, they are not scalps. Because look, I want to be realistic. These are all 1 hour candles, right? So let me pull up a blank chart, right? I think this ends here we go, right? If you want, I can share my screen with you, but for sake of one, let me check out of this. Let me just I'm actually gonna end the Zoom meeting and then I'll start another one real quick. All right. So this way you guys can ask questions. All right. So Forex Fargo checking out. That's the weekly. That's the daily webinar that pairs that I'm looking at. And yeah, we'll see you guys and I'll do the webinar update.